What's your name? What's your name? Say what?
I'm changing my English. Thank you. You know, I can't get it.
So we expect that while we sit around our tables, we also network, we meet people, we forge new collaborations. That's what this is all about. Because by the time we enter full gear tomorrow, we may not have time for all of that. So tonight, we want to welcome everyone. Okay, I was looking for the leaders, and I've just seen her by the door. Did you notice that beautiful lady? She's looking like 16 years old or something, so beautiful. Looking like half her age. She's glowing tonight. And I want to celebrate our Executive Secretary, Lagos State Water Commission, Mrs. Funke Adebo. Come on, let's celebrate. You are going to be that tonight. She's dazzling. She's all shades of dazzling. That's what I call her. Behind there is a good woman. There is a good man. I was telling you this. We cannot celebrate the good man that is supporting of Mrs. Dignitaries. Yes, sir. Mr. Larry. When I say supporting, I know what I'm saying. That's one of the most supporting husbands I've found. Because indeed, when we see men doing very well, just look at it. Most of the time, the support of their husbands, we cannot just wish that away. So once again, thank you. I would like to call on the Executive Secretary of Laswako, that's Mrs. Funke Adebo. She's still in the room to give our opening remarks. Please, that's what I have to gather from her.
I was just telling her she's at the field. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will not make this a speech night. I'll just start by saying thank you, everybody. Christopher Jackson, we can't appreciate you enough. We have a star in the room. Thank you very much for making this happen. All the speakers, all the panelists, I can see my permanent secretaries. We have a parliament represented here. Thank you very much. What we are trying to do this evening is to say that intentionally we need to speak to the issues of water. And we have carefully put together issues on utilities, issues on regulation, issues of water financing, and I'm sure by the time we're done on Thursday, we all would have learned quite a lot as to what we can do differently benchmarking against international best practices. I just want you to enjoy Lagos for our international visitors. We already have dance trips that will entertain you, taste Lagos, feel Lagos, the city of Aquatics player. And for those industry players, both the non-state actors, both the states themselves, in this conference we have about 14 states that have registered to join, and the majority of them are already in Lagos. And like we always say, Lagos not the carry last. I'd like to welcome you to Lagos. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. I heard in the past that Liwala 2022 is the largest gathering of stakeholders in the watch sector in this country.
Right.
And obviously you will see that from tomorrow. Yeah, put your hands together that you're part of it, your lifetime, Liwala 2022. So we're here. We are here to be part of this. And we're grateful for life, more importantly, that God has kept us all to see this particular time when we celebrate Liwala 2022 and we come to contribute to the development of the watch sector. If you look at the back here on the stage, we have all our partners, they're all listed here. We have OPS Watch as one of our supporters, and if you look just beneath that, all our conference partner logos are there, the agencies. Also we have Peter's list, so you might just take time to look through that, just the Peter speech. Come on, please, coming to the guests here. Keep coming to the guests here. Let's remind them of the past to this year. You're welcome, sir. Yes! Thank you very much, sir.
Our dear members of parliament, the chairpersons of the committees in our House of Assembly, our guest speaker for tomorrow, Christopher and your team, the Executive Secretary, Mrs. Funke, this time I hope I haven't read Mrs. Funke, Mrs. Funk, Mrs. Funke, and on your team, of course, all the MPs, CEOs, water specialists, standing on the existing protocol. Allow me to be a bit interactive, as usual. Let me start with the reports. It's not a day for speeches, but since you have called it a dinner speech, so let's speak now. What is this quotation? This is not how good we are. It's not how good we are, but how good we want to be. So says Paul Hardy. All those rich, powerful Nigerians you see around, it's not because they are talented. It's not because they are very well educated, and I think you know. It's not because they are charming, but it's because these rich people wanted to become rich, and they worked towards that. Now, we in this water sector, where do we want to be? Where do we want to be? Without a goal, without the goals in mind, without a vision, there is no way we can score. I'm coming to the point. Let me start by thanking the organizers of this conference, especially Mrs. Funke and your team, for the job well done. You put together for the first time, and I think those of you who know this Lagos Water International Conference, you've never had a pre-conference dinner. I think we must thank you that you have organized such a beautiful dinner for us, that we can come and interact with one another, speak with one another before the conference starts. Thank you so much, and continue with that spirit. I hope next year we shall have another dinner like this. But before I continue with the speech, I want to congratulate the entire water sector in Nigeria, starting from the federal director, the former federal director of water resources, Engineer Benson, all the water commissioners, all the water specialists, and your staff may be asking me, why am I congratulating you? Yes, we had terrible 2 years behind us, Corona. And we were told that the first medicine when Corona came was nothing else but wash your hands. Wash your hands, wash your hands. Water became so important. And you people, and I must thank especially, I was here in Nigeria when Corona started. It united the entire water sector. The permanent secretaries, the commissioners, even the federal people were all talking about how do we organize our utilities in such a way that they can supply this good water. Those of you who have had problems with chemicals were provided. Those who had problems with so-called running costs were provided. Those who had problems with machines not working, money for repair was provided. Because the medicine at that time was nothing else but water. So I want to congratulate you on that. I think you should come for yourselves. The entire water sector, you managed to fight together and unite together and fight this great pandemic. And I was not surprised when I saw the theme of this year's water conference, talking about unlocking investments. Because we do not want again to go into the pandemic, the panic we had when Corona came. Water all of a sudden became so important. All the politicians now started saying, yes, where are our utilities? The utility managers started saying, yes, we need to provide water. They don't want that panic. We have to start investments now. But then, what type of investments are we talking about? Yes, I know many of you are talking about money. And I know tomorrow and after tomorrow, the whole conference will be about how to mobilize money. Money has become the order of the day. But for me, the most important, what I want to do, capital. The talent that wins, the talent that mobilizes the resources, the talent that makes it happen, the talent that moves fast, the talent that is okay, the talent that is Kitimbo, the talent that really can make things move in this water sector. Finding that talent, recruiting that talent, supporting that talent, developing that talent is not an easy task. And we must start now and not tomorrow. I've been in this water business as MD for the last 15 years, then of course as a consultant now moving all over the world. I've visited more than 30 countries, I've been in more than 100 utilities and mark. And especially in Africa, and especially in Nigeria. What is the first impression you get when you enter that utility? Just at the gate itself. There are two things. When you enter this, one of you are from Nigeria. You can tell me two things that you meet when you enter. Just at the entrance, what do you see? Number one? Utilities. What is it? The tap. The vegetation around. How vegetation around? Yes. Vegetation around. Maybe to be strict, let me continue. Aging infrastructure. Aging infrastructure, number one. You enter the utility of today. When you look on the other side, you see those vehicles. You wonder whether it's a graveyard of vehicles. Look at the other side, you see the pipes. You wonder where the pipes are being. Then you go into the network. You see that so-called aging infrastructure. Water is gushing out. You wonder what's happening. You go into the waterworks. You look at the taps. You look at the pumps. You look at the tanks. You wonder whether you are in a museum. That's point number one. What do you see next? You are at the entrance of that water utility.
Aging staff.
Aging staff. My God, congratulations, madam. That's wonderful. Aging staff. Aging staff. Now, this is the most important we are going to talk about today. Aging staff. And in Nigeria, and I'm happy that the House of Rep is here. I'm happy that some of the commissioners are here and PAMSECs are here. There has been what we call an employment stop for the last 10 years. What does it show? Let me give you a small example. I was invited, I think, 2-3 months ago to attend, to give a keynote speech at a Water International Conference. And the topic they gave me was how to alleviate the problems of the aging infrastructure. That was my topic. And it was before the CEOs who had come with their chief engineers, with their chief financial officers. And before I started speaking, I looked around the hall. Some of these people in the audience were already sleeping. And I was wondering, what am I going to do with these sleeping people? And actually I wondered, why would they have invited me to speak about the aging human capital instead of the aging infrastructure? Because for the infrastructure, you go into the literature, you can buy the pumps. It's very easy to go and buy the pumps. It's very easy to go and replace the tanks. It's very easy to go and do a what. It's very easy. Everything is on the market. But there is no way you can just go into the market and buy that human capital. The human capital today is more important in our sector. And in actual fact, if you visit now your own water industry, and I can challenge you, go to any water plant now, you'll be surprised at the type of people you see there. Now, from the research I did here in Nigeria, especially in Nigeria, there are 3 important sectors in this country. The banking sector is flourishing. And for us, we are very happy in Africa that it is the only country in the whole of Africa where the banking sector is controlled by Nigerians. You should go for yourselves, by Nigerians. The first biggest bank is owned by Nigeria. The second biggest bank is owned by Nigeria. The third biggest bank, even the 10th biggest bank is owned by Nigerians. If you go to Uganda, it's the other way around. The first biggest bank is owned by a foreigner, the second by a foreigner. I think it's the 20th which is owned by a Nigerian. And to your surprise, the people who man those banks are none other than Nigerians. The second industry is the industry itself, and it's also owned by Nigerians. The third, and now where you belong, that's the utility industry, the water and electricity. What do the statistics say, according to age distribution? If you go to the banking sector, the people who matter, when you enter into the hall, the people who matter, the average age is between 25 and 35 in the banks. The decision makers, the managers, the middle managers, the age is between 35 and 45. And I can challenge you, just enter any bank here and ask for the manager and how old he is. Between 25 and 45. Go to the industry, the Dangote industries, sugar industries, cement industries. Now the guys who make things matter at the reception, age is between also 25 and 40. Now when you go to the deciding people, the guys who take decisions, the middle managers, the age is between 35 and 50. Those are the middle managers. Now you come to our water industry. The guys who matter. Who are the guys who matter in our industry? The what? The what? The what? The women, not the guys. Okay, the men and women who matter. Those are the plumbers, the meter readers. What is the average age for the meter readers and the plumbers? In Nigeria here, it is between 50 and 60. The people who matter If you now have a problem at home and you are looking for a plumber, they will say, oh yeah. Mr. So-and-so, how old is he? 55 years old. That's the guy who matters. The guy who takes a decision. Now how about the middle managers? And mark this one, especially the House of Assembly, especially the Palm 6, the decision makers here, the middle managers, the guys who matter, who take decisions, is between 50 and 60. The directors, the so-called directors of water, the chief engineer, the whatever it is. How old are you? 55. How old are you? 58. How old are you? 59. How old are you? I'm retiring next year. Hey, so, if you are retiring next year, what is going to happen? Let's go to CEOs. Again, in the banking industry. These are statistics, and you can quote me or you can Google. The banking industry, if you go to the CEOs, and the average age is between 50 and 65. That's the banking industry. Only the CEOs. Now, again, if you go to the normal industry, the sugar industry, the vegetable industry, I don't know what you call those industries, Dangote industries, the average age of the CEOs, surprisingly, is between 40 and 55. Surprisingly, 40 and 55. These companies, you see, these big companies, the Coca-Colas, you don't go and find old people mining them. You find young people mining those Coca-Colas, young people mining the breweries. You go to Dangote Industries, you won't find a man of 60 and 65 as a CEO. It's impossible. Come to our water industry. Yes, the average age of our CEOs, of our general managers, of our managing directors. What do you think it is? Whoever can, what do you think it is? Average age of the CEOs?
55 to 60.
50 what?
55, 60.
55, what are you saying? 55, average age? What can you say? Average age? Of our general managers is 58. In 2 years, the sector is dead. There's no leadership. That's the point. Now, if the sector has no leadership in 2 years, what are we doing here? Are we talking of continuity? Or we are talking of killing the sector? Palm 6, the commissioners, the honorable members of parliament, this is the point that we should discuss. Instead of looking for money to go and buy new machines, we should look for money to employ young people. Now, how has the bank and the other industries done it? And you can quote me again. If you go to the Dangote Industries, if you go to the banks, they have what they call young human capital. They go to the universities, and yet young people have just graduated. UNILAC, University of Ibadan, in Suka, and they get the best. They come and train them, and then they become managers. The water industry is quite different. The managers we have today, the age of our commissioner here, sorry, our former director, the age of most of you, at the age of Tanwa, those were the guys who were recruited 20, 30 years ago. Those days when whenever they would say, who wants to go to Lagos Water or Lagos Water Corporation, everyone would apply because they wanted. That time it was prestigious to join the water sector. The good engineers were coming there. The good accountants were coming there. But today, when you put an advert, Lagos Water Corporation wants young engineers, you go to Ibadan, you don't get any. Nobody wants to join you. What has gone wrong? What do I leave with you? 4 things. 1, and I think this goes to, again, the CEOs. We must put the talent agenda back to the drawing board, back in our boardrooms. Must start talking about the talents, the talent we need, the talent that will bring. Even if we mobilize as much money as because money is always there. If you don't have that talent, if you don't have the young guys, the young engineers, the young accountants, the young plumbers, the young meter readers, we are wasting our money. Number two, we must now reorganize ourselves. How do we do it? We must reorganize members of parliament. We must reorganize all the stakeholders who matter, the NGOs. We must reorganize the commissioners and make them the agents of transformation if we want to change this sector. Number three, reprioritize our expenditures. Where is our money going? And of course, I know the decision makers here, they want their money to go and buy pipes. They want their money to go and build those big waterworks, but they have forgotten that we need to reprioritize and recruit those people who matter. Number four, and lastly, we must retell the story. If you want to make money, you go into the water sector, but people don't know about it. I am here because of the water. If I don't work in the water industry, I will not be speaking to you. Water makes money. Water is very bad, nobody knows about it. I will finish with this quotation again. When it cannot be done, that's when we should do it. When we think that is so important, so impossible to do, that's when we should move in. That's how Dangote makes it. That's how Tony Kennedy makes it. They go into those areas where people don't want to go. If we don't do it, it means there is a problem and the opportunity does not exist. Let's eliminate completely being negative. Let's completely eliminate saying that it is impossible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mary, for that charge. It's a charge, it's a call to action. And indeed, I pray that we make this happen in this sector. We really do need to build talent. It's very important to get a new breed of young people into the sector that will make things. So thank you once again, Dr. Mary. When I did the initial introductions, I think, let me just go through my list again somewhere. I want to take some music. Let's enjoy the rhythm of the drum. Let's enjoy the rhythm of the drum. That's the best part. For about 3 minutes, the Lagos State Cultural Show will entertain us. Please put your hands together for that. this. You see, this is where break dancing started from. This is the origin of break dance. And when I was watching this dance, I spotted two particular styles that they did this. Who can remember this? Oh my God. So you know this is Booga. Alright. So I said that Booga. Yeah, they did this. What's that one?
Yo.
What do you call it? Yeah, but there's a difference. Is that shuffle? How am I doing for time? So there are several dance steps that are displayed here, and really that was quite entertaining. So let's move on. The night is fast spent. We have an overview of Lima. We'll be given an overview of the Lagos International Water Conference 2022. And that will be done by Mr. Adebayo Amaro. Please let's put our hands together for him. This speech will be given on the stage. There's no feedback that.
Good evening, everyone, once again. Lima started in the year 2020, despite COVID. And Funke had a mission, and the mission is the Lagos State water sector must be put on the world map. And the vehicle for achieving that is where we organize international conferences. We are able to bring participants from across the globe. So let's put our hands together for that mission. And today, we have entered into the third edition. I, being one of the, planning committee members, both for last year and this year, we thought of what should be attractive. What is it that can attract participants? What is it that can bring the world to pay attention to the water sector in Nigeria, in Lagos, and of course by extension in Nigeria? And what came to mind is the huge opportunity that abounds in Lagos. The huge markets that abounds in Lagos. Number one, the population itself is an opportunity. That Lagos is the smallest state in Nigeria in terms of landmass, but is the most populous state in the country. Lagos today is approaching 25 million people. That in itself is an opportunity. So we started looking at how do we coin things around these opportunities that abound in the sector. So last year, which was the second edition, the theme was investment opportunities for water sanitation services in mega cities, the case of Lagos. So we were able to, highlight the various challenges that the sector in Lagos was facing and the opportunities that abound. And then what are also the investment opportunities that we could tap into. So that was the thing last year. And I want to say that it didn't end there at the end of the conference. We still went further to do a one-day workshop to look at the outcome of that conference last year. The Lagos Water Corporation. I want to say that Water Aid Nigeria is working with the Lagos State Water Regulatory Commission and the Water Corporation itself to see how some of these schemes in the country, in the state, will be revived and introduce a PPP model to this. This process is ongoing. It also brought about a learning visit. In other words, if we want to improve, can we go outside the country to see how some other countries are doing it? We didn't want to go to Europe because we felt Europe would be too complex for us. Can we start with an African country? And no any other country came to mind than Zambia. So we decided to take a team, I think about 7-9-man team, to Zambia, where we were hosted by INWASCO. And I'm glad the Director General of INWASCO is in our midst today. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Thank you very much for being a good host. We learned a lot. And coming back from Zambia, we said, what is it that we have brought home from Zambia? And how can they impact on Lagos? Based on that, we came up with a theme for the 3rd edition, which is this year. Last year, we talked about investment opportunities. We saw the investments, how we can access the opportunities also. So this year, we want to look at how do we unlock the opportunities. The opportunities are there. How do we unlock them? So this year, the theme is unlocking investment opportunities and sustainable access in order to improve service delivery in the state. This is what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow and the half day of the next. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to play with us, to give it our best, so that this conference will not just be a talk show. It is of NIWA 2022. Thank you very much and enjoy your night.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. We have two people from the floor to give us their greetings and felicitations, and we have, let me start from this side. I have Mr. Larry Bishop, the Honorable Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, and he was your 1 minute felicitations.
I'd like to thank all of you for being part of this event, especially those who have come from different parts of the world. I want to assure you that the Lagos State government is taking provision of potable water to its citizens very seriously. So much so that the government himself has called to ask for a tour order to improve the amount of water that's being supplied to Lagos by next year by 125 million pounds. My expectation is that everyone here throughout the conference will be thinking about that. What are the regulatory impediments to water supply in Lagos? What's stopping other people from coming to try and invest? I was at an event earlier today where Mr. Governor said that the budget of Lagos does not exceed $2 billion a year. However, the GDP of Lagos is just over 100 billion. So most of the money that's available for investment is out there in the private sector. Let's talk about what the regulatory impediments are. Let's talk about what can we do differently. Let's talk about what we should do to empower and enable us to work with someone. So again, I want to